for under a different name.
Do we need another call, Chris, for BC program, or did we get it taken care of?
Sorry, that was me. I didn't know I was still logged on from work, so I just changed it. Apologies.
Okay.
Who's that? I didn't catch that.
Maret, -hour room right here.
Okay, perfect. See you now. Scrolling through there. Thank you.
All right, I think we are good to go if you would like to gavel in there, Shasti.
Okay, great. All right, hello 11th. It is 7:10 and I am going to officially call this meeting to order. It's a pleasure to be with all of you tonight on Inauguration Eve. I have been doing reorgs for the last few weeks and a lot of them have been heavy with a lot of response to the violence that we've been seeing across this country. And tonight we get to be a little bit more celebratory as we get ready to elect new leadership here tonight, and then we usher in new leadership in DC tomorrow. I just heard the reference to Susie Sherry, and I just want to say how much I'm walking in her footsteps, and it is meaningful to be back here with all of you in Susie's home district, and how she really did pave the way for not only me, but I think for women leaders across this county, across the state, in the party, and how deeply she is missed. So I just wanted to make sure I said that there. Okay, David Fleetwood, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And justice for all.
Thank you very much. We always like to start all of our meetings with an acknowledgement that we are on tribal land. So I will say, on behalf of the King County Democrats, I acknowledge the land on which we stand today as the traditional home of the Coast Salish and Duwamish people, the traditional home of all tribes and bands within the Snoqualmie, Tulalip, Snoqualmie, and Muckleshoot nations. Without them, we would not have access to this gathering and to this dialogue. I ask that we take this opportunity to thank the original caretakers of this land who are still here with us tonight. Okay. All right, so tonight, thank you all for joining. We will be electing officers, and we are going to be electing mostly the statutory offices. So everyone here should be an elected PCO. That also grants you access to the floor. So if you want to make a motion, the best way to do that is to either raise your hand. If you have the Zoom function, if you go under participants, you'll see the button to be able to raise your hand. Chris Franco is going to be keeping an eye on raised hands. If you aren't able to raise your hand, in the chat, you can write either to Chris or to put out to everyone that you'd like to make a motion, you are seeking the floor, and that way we will identify you, and then you have the ability to come off of mute. I'm gonna ask you to stay on mute unless you are acknowledged, and either Chris calls on you, I call on you to be able to speak, but just so that we can keep the cross noise down. And then when we get into actual elections, I will have Drew talk about how we're going to handle ballots, but you will be receiving those via email, so you'll want to have access to your email accounts. All right, so let's start with approval of the agenda. So the agenda was sent out in the call to meeting. I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Great. Are there any amendments, any objections? Any objections? Any objections? Okay, seeing none, the agenda is adopted. The meeting rules were also in the call to meeting, and so you should have access to them there. I believe they're also on the website. So I will also entertain a motion to adopt the meeting rules.
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
Thank you. Any objections? Any objections? Any objections? Seeing none, the meeting rules are adopted for tonight. Thank you so much. Okay, so then the temporary officers for tonight are David McDonald, our DNC member, will be parliamentarian for tonight. David Fleetwood, who will be acting as secretary. Drew Easup, who you just heard from, will be acting both as credentials chair and tally committee chair. And then our sergeant at arms for the night is Chris Franco. Okay, so Drew, I'm going to hand it to you to explain how the voting is going to work tonight.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, and welcome everyone to the 11th District reorganization meeting. So there will be a couple of pieces here. For most of you, this should feel fairly familiar, especially if you participated in either the delegate selection process here this summer, the conventions process after that point, or if you've engaged with any of the other county reorganization meetings or similar. Voting will be conducted entirely via Google Forms. So Google Forms is a fairly robust structure here that'll allow us to conduct these elections. Each of you should have already received a unique voting identification number. I use UVIN for short. This should be a 6-digit number that you should have received sometime in the last week, and it'll be your access code into the meeting. So, or into the ballots, excuse me. So everyone who's been checked in simply by joining this meeting has already had their code added into the ballot, and the ballot should accept them with no trouble through at this point. But I do want to flag for everyone that you do have to make sure that you have no spaces either on the front or back end, as the ballot can reject based on that. So make sure it is just the 6 numbers that you have there. If you do not have this number available to you, please email me at drew@wa-democrats.org during this first practice vote so that you can get a sense for how, or you can get that number quickly ahead of a vote for any of the real officers. Each of the ballots will be open for a set amount of time, and they should be pretty straightforward. They are going to simply ask you for your email address so that you can receive a confirmation of the ballot that you cast. You can vote as many times as you'd like, but we only accept the latest of your submissions. So if you think there was a problem, if you realize you voted for the wrong candidates, etc., you can just go right back to that link and submit another ballot. It'll also ask for your UVIN and then a quick identity verification against your UVIN to make sure that we have something to audit. So your full name and the precinct you're elected from. And then you'll cast your ballot for which position we're currently voting for. Each of these ballots links will be provided in the chat. You should be able to just click to go straight to the ballot. And I also have all of you who have joined this meeting added to a full Google group so that I can send an email to each of you individually as we go. So as each ballot goes live, I will also email the link to that ballot directly to you. So whichever way is most convenient for you to access. For most of you, that will be to access the chat, but keep that in mind. The last thing I want to touch on, we can go over, I'm sure Shasti will go over this again as we get towards this component, but for state committee members, please remember that you must select 2 members and they cannot be of the same gender. The ballot is currently structured so that you cannot spoil your ballot, to the best of my knowledge. We'll see if I messed that up for y'all, but my understanding should be that it is impossible for you to spoil your ballot. But it will first ask you to select one candidate, and then it will present you with the remaining candidates you can select. So if you vote for a male candidate on your first vote, then it will only present you with female or non-binary candidates on your second vote. If you vote for non-binary on first vote, male and female. If you vote for female, male and non-binary. So please keep that in mind on your first ballot. That will determine who's on the second set of votes you receive, and those will all be on one ballot themselves. If you have any questions throughout the proceedings, please feel free to email me. Please give me a second to respond, obviously. If you all email at the same time, it'll take a couple minutes to process through things, so keep that in mind. With that, I want to provide the first ballot for everyone in the chat so that you can get going here on a practice ballot. This ballot is in the exact same format as every other ballot that you will be using this evening. So it will take the exact same UVINs. It asks the same identification questions, but what you're voting on instead of a chair is a favorite mascot, which is my upgrade from favorite household pet. This is not binding, so please don't yell at me, but feel free to hop in here and do a quick practice vote. Make sure your UVIN works, make sure you have it, work out all these kinks, and then we can show you the results afterward in the same way that they'll be displayed later on in the evening. Does that make sense to everyone?
Okay, so Drew has put the first link, thank you, Drew, into the chat. So you should be able to click on that, and then you will be able to see and cast your vote for your favorite household pet. And if you have any issues, like Drew said, you can either email him. Yeah, extremely large pegs. You might have to do a write-in campaign, Julie.
No, that is an option, Chastity.
Oh, it is? Okay.
I'm a big fan of enormous household farm animals, high quality creatures. Pigs are as smart as dogs. We should all own them. And the fact that they can get up to 600 pounds is just pristine.
I shouldn't have put it past Drew that he would add that option. So yes, we'll take a few minutes for folks to cast your vote. We'll make sure that we're able to get your to receive your ballots. If there's any issues, then we can try to work that through before we move into our main elections for the night. And I'm gonna, when we had sort of dead time, I see we've got a couple of our electeds that are here tonight, so I will give them an opportunity to speak, but I just want to give people a minute to make your decisions. Very, very important vote on this one. And if you're having any issues with the ballot, feel free to either come off mute, raise your hand.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, it says my unique voting code is not matching any that y'all have on record, and I did come late. Sorry about that. And is that the reason?
I just checked on your ID there, Anson. Yes, we have not gotten you in there on the first batch of uploads. I'm not 100% on seating folks. Chastity, we're fine still seating folks, or yeah.
Let me just David. Let me just check David McDonald. I don't remember there being anything in the rules about there being a deadline.
There is no deadline because the election of the district chair is both a statutory function and a party rules function, and they're an elected, PCO is an elected official, so they're entitled to show up and vote as long as the vote has not been taken.
Okay.
Yep.
Great.
Your code should be functional now. If you just want to refresh the ballot, Anson, and go from there, you should be good to go. But give me a confirmation if you have some trouble. And if it doesn't work for the first time, just try again 1 or 2 times. Let me know.
Yeah, it works now. Thank you so much. Sorry I came late.
No worries at all.
Okay. Drew, how much time do you think you need?
Well, we have 36 responses so far, so we're missing about 6 or 7 folks. So I just want to give folks a couple minutes here to poke around first.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
This is Kate. I just want to let you know I'm doing it from my phone, all on my phone. So it's a little hard to manipulate and go fast, and that may be why others have trouble.
Okay.
So what am I supposed to do?
Were you able to open up the ballot from the link in the chat?
Let me see.
I just resent it. I'll also send you all an email as well, so that you have, let me make sure you are on there, Anson. Let me do a quick test of, yeah, you are on there, of the email system.
I click on chat and get nothing.
Sorry, can you clarify what you mean by nothing there? Like what are you clicking on and what does it take you to?
I should see something over on the right side of the screen, yes?
Yeah,
Nothing.
there's nothing displayed.
It's blank.
It's blank.
There's nothing there. I should click on chat, right?
Yes.
It says 1. I get a whole bunch of messages, but I don't know what to do.
So, okay, so at the very last, do you see where you see all those messages? If you scroll all the way
Yep.
down to the bottom, do you see a link that says https :/ forms?
Yep.
Okay, you're gonna click on that,
Okay.
and then that should open for you the ballot.
Oh, okay. So my email address. Okay.
Okay.
It's a little bit arduous, but it's worth it.
Yes, this way we have audible results and a good record.
Absolutely. So we are up to 41 responses, so we're pretty close here, which also reminds me that I did not announce how many people were actually present at the meeting. So at this time, as our first balloting is complete, we have 46 members credentialed ballots. So there are 5 of you at this point who have not cast your ballot at this time. So we'll give it just a couple more minutes for folks to track through here. Also, you should have all received an email that was sent to the email that I have on file for you from my email, Drew@Wabash-Democrats, with the link to ballot 0. If you did not receive this, please check your spam box, check your folders. If you are using Gmail, sometimes they sort that way, so that you can make sure that you have those available. If you don't receive it at all, it's not the end of the world. That happens occasionally, and it's why we try to make sure these go in multiple places. If you are not receiving that email and you are not able to access chat, please feel free to send me an email or speak up, and we can get you the ballot in a different direction. But again, these are meant to be redundancies. So if you are able to access the ballot in chat and did not receive an email from me a moment ago, it is not catastrophic, and I don't want to overload myself trying to troubleshoot email addresses in the short term, but just keep that in mind for folks as well.
Drew, you might mention, given the multiple ways that things are going out, that only the last ballot that comes in is counted. If somebody accidentally votes twice, we only count the last one.
Yeah, that is correct. Thank you, David. We do a dedupe before we finalize any results. So if you vote 100 times, your UVIN is only going to be accepted on the last vote. So please keep that in mind. All right, we have 42 responses in. So we have 4 folks missing here. Is anyone having trouble or have any problems? Anything I can help troubleshoot?
Hey, Drew, we do have one. I'm trying to work offline here. We've got Eric. Let me pull up here. Chat here. Eric's trying to get in to the meeting, and I don't know if we can refresh them and link and even see if the email with the ballot will help ensure that they're able to participate in this process in some way. We'll continue to work that, but any help with another email would be greatly appreciated.
All right, we're up to 43 responses.
And Julia, are we actually live streaming on YouTube now? Is it working? Julia or Bunton?
It works on my screen.
Yeah, I will say it's not streaming in the right place, but like Winter just posted in our group, there is a place that it is streaming, but we will try to get it in the right place after this meeting concludes as well. So.
Okay. So we are recording this meeting, so if you would prefer not to have your video shown, it would be best if you took your video down. Okay, Drew, what do you think?
Yeah, we can move forward here. We have 44 responses. It looks like 2 are duplicates. So there's a couple folks who haven't voted, but at this point, if you're not raising issues, please feel free to email me between this and the next ballot, and we can get anything worked out. But I want to make sure folks we're moving along. So I'm going to close the responses now. And if you don't mind, Shasti, I'll do a quick example of what folks can see after the fact here.
Yep.
So I will. Oh, can someone request me to screen share so I can screen share results? Whoever the formal host is.
I believe that's Julia.
Julia, are you able to request me to screen share? All right, if not, that is fine. We can also go through the verbal explanation of what's going on. So throughout these processes, the Google form timestamps everything and comes in. Everything is pulled out to a separate tab that only contains the votes that I can then show you or provide as sort of screenshots if folks are looking for them. That'll have the votes and then just does a very basic count if function with each of the individual components. So give me 2 seconds to dedupe everything here, and we will announce the results. I can click on the right thing all the time. All right, so after deduping, we have 21 votes for dogs, 14 votes for cats, and 7 votes for extremely large pigs, which is personally very disappointing, although dogs are a good choice of animal as well, and what I happen to live with. So in this instance, out of 42 votes cast, dogs achieved 21 votes, cats 14, and extremely large pigs 7. In this instance, Donald Tinker in the chat is actually correct. The dogs have not received a majority. They received exactly 50%. So in this instance, cats and dogs would go to a runoff. I am not going to waste all your time.
Thank you very much, Drew. Okay, all right. I know that was probably maybe felt a little slow for some folks, but we wanted to make sure that we can work out all of the issues. And hopefully folks are feeling confident in their ability to vote. So with that, I am going to move us into the reason why we all are here. So I will open for nominations for chair. There are already 2 people who have been who have self-nominated, and that is Carmen Rivera and Benton Coblentz. Are there any other nominations for chair? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, I'm going to close nominations. I'm going to start in the order with which I believe that that we received the nominations. And from my chart, I think Carmen, you are up first. How much time? Chris is going to be our timekeeper. David McDonald, do you know? Does it say how much time?
2 minutes,
2
I
minutes.
believe is what the rules say.
Okay, 2 minutes, and candidates are allowed to cede their time if they have other folks who they'd like to have speak on their behalf. So Carmen, the floor is yours. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Shasti. My name is Carmen Rivera, and I am a member of the 11th Legislative District Democrats. I was born and raised in the 11th LD, and this organization greatly impacted me at an early age. And as soon as I could register, it was because of the 11th LD Dems that I felt empowered and informed by my vote. I have over 7 years of experience working for both the state of Washington and King County. As a result, I deeply understand the impact of politics and policies at all levels of government. If elected chair, I'm determined to achieve the following goals. I want to work for the 11th LD to increase the membership participation and engagement at our monthly meetings. We can do this by expanding our means of communication beyond email. I want us to form relationships through regular outreach to promote community and connection. I will continue to reach out to you, connect our members, and encourage your valuable participation. Additionally, when you elect me, you are electing a chair who will be progressive in putting the priorities of our members first when facilitating and structuring our monthly meetings. As an adjunct professor and trained facilitator, I am experienced in leading and engaging people, and I understand the 11th LD leadership could do better to utilize your valuable time. Lastly, I will identify leaders and interested members outside of the elected leadership who want to help and organize to mobilize around various politics and community issues. Our members want to be engaged, informed, and connected with one another. We as leaders of the 11th LD need to empower our members with the tools and resources to do so. We are a minority majority district with an incredibly diverse community. Our leadership reflects our values and the community we serve. I would honor the opportunity to use my skills, knowledge, and lived experience as a queer, biracial woman of color to serve you as your chair. I would like to concede my time to Representative David-elect Hackney.
Thank you very much. I am honored to stand up for Carmen Rivera. I am, since I've met her, I've been impressed with her passion, her energy, and her vision. The vision of revitalizing.
I'm sorry, that's time.
Okay, thanks very much. All right, we will go to Benton. You have 2 minutes, Benton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Benton Koblenz, and I'm running to be your next chair of the 11th LD Dems. I'm running because I want to seize the opportunity that we have to build on our work and refresh our organization. I've been working in the party and on campaigns in this district since I was 12. I've seen what works well, and I know what needs improvement. I know the obvious things about what it takes to lead the 11th LD Dems, and I've learned all the very not so obvious things. I bring skills from my experience as an economist, working in city government, on the board at Tukwila Pantry, from the organizing I've done and the dozen-plus campaigns I've worked on. You've already seen my commitment to building a better 11th LD Dems, to building a welcoming organization that represents the diversity of this district and that effectively advocates for our democratic priorities. You've seen, whether you knew it or not, the skills and the passion that I bring to this party. You've read the 24+ editions of the newsletter that I wrote and I edited. You were one of the 200+ people that watched the candidate forum I produced. You dropped by the booth that I set up at Tukwila Pride. Many of you became PCOs because of the reminders that I sent and the calls that I made. And tonight, you see the talented 11th LD Dems united. If you elect us, you will be electing the most diverse executive board in the history of this organization. I am not asking you to reward the time that I've spent working in this party. I'm asking you to see the good work that is being done, the opportunity we have to build on that work. I'm asking you to share my vision of a party that has an active voice in our community and that impacts the lives of our constituents. If you want a candidate who is committed to this party and who knows what needs to be done, you want me as your chair. And I would be honored to have your support and to work hard for you. Thank you. Benton Koblenz for chair.
Thanks very much. Okay, now we will move to voting. So Drew will put a link into the chat and we will, there it is. Okay, so you're gonna go to chat, you're gonna hit the link, and that's how you will submit your vote. Let me give people just a few seconds, few minutes to do that, and then let's hear from our electeds. Okay, Representative Berquist, are you there? Would you like to say a few words? saw you out there. Okay, Representative Hackney. You had a chance to vote. If you'd like to say a few words.
Yes, thank you. I'm just completing my ballot, but I will be here in 1 second. Just want to
Okay, go ahead and take it. Yeah, take your time.
click away. But thank you. Yeah, this is one. I'm excited to see so many people involved today, and I hope this continues. Regardless of who wins, I hope that we can maintain, obviously, a civil relationship and work together to revitalize this LD. I'm in my second week in the legislature. It's been a great experience. I'm the vice chair of the Capital Budget Committee, and we're going to be spending about $4.6 billion this biennium. I'm also on the Public Safety Committee, which is dealing with the police accountability and criminal justice reform bills. And I'm also on the Transportation Committee. I've been in touch with Councilman, Kate Kruller and Mayor Elkberg and Mayor Pavoni, and I've got a list of projects from them, and I'm going to work hard and advocate for the 11th District. I appreciate so much this opportunity. I plan to be an active member of this 11th LD throughout my term, and I hope you all will join me. Thanks.
Thanks so much. And we are proud to have Representative Hackney as our state committee member out at King County. So the 11th, you've been punching above your weight, I feel like, for our time at King County. A big thank you to David Fleetwood for his service last term at King County. Chris Franco, Rick Politan gave hours and hours and hours for the endorsements committee. So much talent out of the 11th. I am eternally grateful to you all. I didn't come to visit as much because I was always like, oh, they don't want to hear from King County. They have so much representation. So a big thank you to Representative Hackney. Representative Berquist just put in the into the chat that he is in budget development meetings, so he is not able to give remarks. But we want to send him a big thank you for his work in a remote Olympia.
Representative Berquist is vice chair of appropriations, and that's a really hot committee, and they work throughout the night. And he has been as generous and helpful as he could possibly be with me in the legislature. And I just wanted to thank him publicly for all of his help assistance.
Yes, round of applause. We're grateful to all of you who are serving. I know that it is a particularly challenging time for elected officials, and I know you all had to go down to the Capitol last week, and you put your own safety to the side to be able to do your duty and your public service. So thank you for that.
On that note, can I just ask, are the elected officials doing well? Are they okay and safe after all of this? I've been worried.
Oh yeah. First of all, they took really care of us. We had the National Guard and the State Patrol out. We outnumbered the protesters like 5 to 1. And I want to say the biggest defense against insurrection is a cold, rainy Monday morning. So there weren't that many of them. And, it's definitely different, because I've only got a chance to meet my colleagues in person one time, but we're trying to do our best. It's really hard to be, personable on Zoom. I ran a campaign on Zoom. It's not fun. It's not fun. The point of politics is getting to be with people and interacting with people. And I'm looking forward to that opportunity to do that again.
Well, we're going to Olympia.
That was a really great question. I'm glad you guys were safe. Whoever asked that question, that was a good question. Hi, Chris. I'm glad you guys were safe, David, Mr. Representative.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Does anyone have any other questions for?
Hi, Dawn Bennett.
We can all say our hellos too. Any other questions for Representative Hackney?
My door is always open. I'm going to put my ledge email in the chat. I am prioritizing constituent questions and meetings and issues. So just make sure you put down the 11th and you will jump ahead on the line of anybody else.
Great. Drew, how are we looking?
I think we're about there. We have the same number of votes cast as we did in the practice ballot. So a couple folks who showed up originally didn't get their ballots in, but that's not uncommon for these sorts of things. So I'm ready to close whenever you are, if you want to do a couple calls for last votes.
Question.
Yeah. Who's voting?
Have we just voted on chair?
Yes.
Yes.
I got zapped out by a Zoom advertisement while all that was going on. Anybody else get that?
No. Here, if you want to take a quick look in chat again, Matt, I've posted the link.
I did, and nothing. There's nothing there.
The thing that says forms.gle/N1MA. That link?
No, not there. It's not there.
Drew, do you want to try to message it to him?
Yeah, I'll message to you directly, Matt.
Well, wait a minute. All of a sudden it shows up.
It clears. Yeah, when you come back in, it's sort of as you come back in. So if you got shut out, that would be the issue.
I did.
So, okay.
Yeah, so feel free to get that vote in there if you'd like, Matt.
I'll give it another minute. Representative Hackney has put his email into the chat. It's david.hackney@ledge.wa.gov. And so he's saying go ahead and email him if you'd like to set up a meeting or talk about any issues. We'll let Matt get his vote in, and then Drew, I'll hand it back over to you to announce the results. Representative Hackney, you're getting a request if you could put your ledge phone number into the chat. Thank you.
Of course.
Okay. Matt, did you get a chance to get your ballot in?
It seems to be in.
Okay.
Yep, I have it on my end, Matt.
All right, I'm going to close
Thank you.
voting.
Beautiful.
And Drew, would you like to announce results?
Yeah, give me 2 seconds here. All right. So I can share screen now, maybe. Let's see. Aha, victory. Let's share just this one. All right, so what you can see here is just the tabulation tab. So what's happening here is this is pulling in, for those of you following along at home, this is pulling in the column that has results from the ballot submission. So these are the raw votes coming in. There is a total of 45 votes cast, one less than who all checked in. And we have 11 votes cast for Carmen Rivera and 34 votes cast for Benton Kobolance. You can see each of these are a basic countif function in Excel that just if the name is detected in that column, it will count. Same deal, whoops, try to break it. Same deal with Carmen Rivera. If their name appears anywhere in this, they are counted. That is how all of these function, including all future ones. So keep that in mind. But with that, Benton appears to have a majority of the vote here on the first ballot.
Thank you very much, Drew. Congratulations, Benton. Would you like to
Congratulations.
say a few words?
Yes, yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Shasti. And thank you, all of you, for your confidence that you've placed in me. I am so excited to get to work for you over the next 2 years. I want to thank Carmen for the campaign that she ran. You made my campaign, and you made this organization better. And I'm really, really excited to work with you on the projects that you want to work on. I certainly do not think that you need to be elected chair. You do not need to be in an elected position to have a voice in this organization, right? That comes from the newsletter editor, right? So yeah, thank you, Carmen. Thank you to all of you. That offer goes out to all the PCOs, all the members, everyone who's interested in getting more involved in this community. There is too much work to go around for us to be restrictive. There are plenty of roles for all of us to play. And I'm so excited for what we're going to be able to accomplish over the next 2 years. So with that, thank you again, Shasti. Thank you, David McDonald, Drew Estep, Julia Reed, Chris Franco. I am going to take the liberty that the rules allow me and turn it back over to you. Thanks for giving me the chance to say a few words. And I look forward to the rest of this meeting, and I'll be back in February.
Awesome. Thank you. Congratulations, Benton. And Carmen, thank you so much for running. We do hope that you'll stay a part of the 11th and love to see you at King County as well. Okay, so yeah, so Benton has asked that I continue to chair the meeting through the rest of the election. So I am going to do that. So I'm going to move us into our next election, which is that for vice chair. Jasmine Inez has already self-nominated, and I believe that's the only nomination that we have. Let me just triple check that we have for vice chair. And yes, that's correct. Okay.
Madam Chair, can we do it by acclamation? Is that
Yes,
against
I
the
got
rules?
it. Hold on one second. I have to close nominations. So yeah, hold that thought. I'm about to come back to you to do just that. Okay, so Jasmine Inez is the only person who is self-nominated. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, the nominations are closed, and then whoever just made that request, go ahead.
Azim, I move that we do the vote by acclamation.
Seconded.
Last chance to back out, Jasmine.
And Kate, was that a second?
It was a second from Kate Crowell.
Great. No objections. Seeing none, Jasmine, you are elected by acclamation. Congratulations. Would you like to say a few words?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I guess I'm your new vice chair. I still consider myself very new with more to learn. And I just really appreciate you guys taking your chance on me and for letting me be part of the United Slate. Excited to work with all of you. I've had the chance to talk to a few of you over the phone this past weekend. And I left a lot of messages, and I was honest when I said, if you have anything you want to talk about, feel free to text me or call me. Happy to chat and look forward to working together with you.
Great. Thank you so much. And congratulations. Okay, and now we are going to move to state committee. So as Drew mentioned earlier, the way that we are going to do the state committee vote is that we are going to elect, everyone who wants to run for state committee, we are going to hear from, and someone from any gender is eligible to be able to run. And then we're going to do it on one ballot. And the way that the ballot is set up is that it forces you to have to choose two people of differing genders. So if we have multiple male identifying folks who run or female identifying folks who run, you'll have to choose between those different categories. I'll make sure if that gets confusing, I'll have Drew explain it better. All right, so for state committee, I have already self-nominated. I have Santiago Ramos, who is male identifying. I have Ryan Peterson, who is also male identifying. I have Kate Kruller, who is female identifying. I have Winter Cashman, who is identified as non-binary. And I have Rick Politan, who is identified as male. I am going to start with as they came in, and it looks like Santiago, you are up first. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you, Chastity. Thanks, everybody. Good evening. Let me introduce myself to the new. My name is Santiago Ramos. I have been a PCO since 2007. I'm the former chair of the 48th Legislative District. I ran to take on Congressman Riker in 2016, knowing it was a steep hill to climb. I've served alongside Kate, just state committee member for the past 2 years. Since I've purchased a home in the district. In December of 2020, I had the honor of a lifetime to serve as an elector for President-elect, tomorrow President Biden and Vice President Harris. Only in America can an immigrant like myself have the honor of a lifetime to do so. I pride myself on being a workhorse, not a showman. Running for re-election because I believe I have done my job well. I want to continue serving you. I have answered all the questions, concerns, and phone calls that I have received during my tenure. I serve in the Affirmative Action Committee at the state, and I also have, which our work created a diverse group of delegates to the National Convention. I'm one of the few Latinos on the Central Committee and on the Executive Board. I was chosen as an at-large member by the chair, Tina Polodowski. She values my opinion and my inputs on policy decisions. I believe I will be reappointed to the Executive Committee in the next term. In the upcoming cycle, the biggest decisions are going to be electing a new party chair, setting the budget, figuring out how to maintain the statewide infrastructure when we expect donations to come extremely low this year as part of 2021. As part of the Executive Committee, we set money aside for 2022, this next election cycle. I'm proud of that work. Thank you for allowing me to serve the past 2 years. I hope to earn your vote and serve for another term. Thank you.
Thanks so much. I am so sorry. I just realized that I didn't call for any other nominations. So I'm really sorry. I'm going to pause really quickly so that we do that and we make sure that that we give everyone a chance. I'm so sorry, Santiago.
You're not going to make me do my speech again, are you?
No. Everyone just remember that speech. We'll get right back to it in just a second. I'm so sorry. Are there any other nominations for state committee for any gender identity? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Okay, seeing none, they are closed. Remember Santiago's speech. We will move to our next person. I really apologize for that. Ryan Peterson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening. Tonight we come together to choose the leadership of our LD for the next 2 years. In doing so, we will establish the direction of our LD and the state party. Driven by purpose, responsibility, and a deep-rooted love for this community, I was born and raised in Renton. I'm the son of a union tile setter and public schools worker. A Washington State alum, I studied history and political science. I'll work with purpose and urgency to advocate for progressive policies and candidates. Professionally, I've advocated in support of SB 5380, increasing access to treatment for patients suffering from substance abuse. This effort included recruiting and preparing area physicians to testify in support of open access before the Senate Health and Long-Term Care Committee. As a member of the Progressive Caucus, I'm advocating in support of SB 5995, sponsored and introduced by our state senator, Bob Hasagawa. Working closely with former state senator Marilyn Chase, I've gained an understanding of navigating party politics and what it takes to bring a progressive bill out of committee and to the floor. My experiences have reinforced my belief in progressive policies. Volunteering for the Low Income Housing Initiative, I saw firsthand how transformative stability can be for a child, the security of a home and a community to grow in. I also saw for far too many times transient families the result of immoral economic inequalities, depriving children of continuity in their education and a community to grow and develop with. To resolve the issues that plague us will take strong party leadership, inclusivity for all community members, and progressive policies that produce healthy, equitable, and sustainable future. If elected, I will support fair allocation of party resources like Vote Builder and general elections. I'll work hard to ensure our party lives up to what we put on paper, embodying diverse representation and exemplifying democratic principles that recognize every voice. Members of the 11th, I, Ryan Peterson, ask for your vote for a male member of the Central Committee. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Ryan. Okay, Kate, you're up.
Meeting. Hello, everyone. I am Kate Cruller, and I'm running for state committee member. I want to thank you for the honor of serving you as your 11th District State Committee member on the Washington State Democratic Central Committee for the past 2 years. With your vote, I pledge to continue representing you with integrity and hard work in the most transformative time our party has ever experienced in recent memory. You all saw my statement in a number of ways, so I'm going to also enhance that by telling you what I've done for the 11th. As an elected precinct committee officer and community organizer since 2005, I've served in a number of capacities individually and in organizational leadership, promoted citizenship, registered voters, and distributed helpful information to voters in our community about elections, ballot issues, and significant activities, such as the 2010 and 2020 census, county charter updates and redistricting, etc. As dedicated member of the 11th LD, I participated in community outreach, have been on endorsement committees, have facilitated debates, doorbelled my precinct, put on and facilitated precinct and legislative caucuses, volunteered to be on rules committees at state committee Democratic conventions, and have been your newsletter editor, parliamentarian, programs chair, legislative district chair for 2 terms, and became a Tukwila City Council member. I am very passionate about the state committee work. I've put down what my agenda items are. If you were to cast your vote in my favor, continue to listen to what you want and vote that way. Get Democrat candidates access to the vote builder data, no matter what their status. Fully support diversity, equity, and inclusion reforms. Push for greater accountability on fiscal processes at the state level. Devote hundreds of hours, because I'm crazy and I love it, on the Rules Committee, and run for Congressional District 9 representative.
I'm sorry, that's time.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Okay, Winter.
Hello, fellow Democrats. My name is Winter Cashman, they, them, and I am running for state committee member at the WSDCC. My tenure as an activist, advocate, voter, and Democrat has been one of service I wish to continue. As an activist, I have rallied hundreds to events such as the climate strike under Greta Thunberg in 2018 and an impeach Trump rally last year, which a handful came to the 11th LD meeting afterwards, including myself the week I joined. As an advocate, I brought together LGBTQIA+ neighbors and allies to push for social activities, but also civic engagement and local advocacy. I encourage neighbors to help save the Red Lion homeless shelter from eviction by putting pressure on our city and county councils. I have, with others, pushed to enact reforms which are underway locally on issues of racial justice and equality, and I helped to form a local system for tracking hate group and extremist activity in defense of our libraries and places of worship, which were targeted for hosting Pride events 2 years ago. In my work in our neighborhoods and communities, I've been encouraged to run for this position, and I also come with some support from some state committee members and some Stonewall Democrats whom I look forward to serving with. These last 4 years, and especially these last few weeks, have demonstrated the severe damage done to our communities and our democracy, not just by the soon-to-be former president, but by the extremism and division he has cultured in our neighborhoods. I am seeking to be your state committee member to continue working on the executive board alongside the leaders and friends I've made here, and to make connections to the broader community, but also to continue to find and to create pathways to justice on issues faced by our communities. I believe strongly in the motto we hold so dear, liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much, everyone, for your participation with the local Democrats. I hope to earn your support tonight for the non-binary position for WSDCC. Please continue to stay involved.
Sorry, this time. Just perfect.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, Rick, you're our last one.
Hi, good evening, fellow Democrats. I'm Rick Polintan. I'm running for the state committee position. I've been in leadership of the 11th Legislative District Democrats since I was redistricted in 2011 from the 47th LD. Because I truly believe that if you want to see qualitative changes, one has to be more involved. I've been also actively involved in other organizations to improve the voter engagement, more specifically within the API community. And like Shasti mentioned earlier, I've been a chair of the King County Endorsement Committee and put in a lot of hours making that happen. I'm running for state committee because we need to establish a statewide and consistent policy on how candidates can access our vote builder data. And then secondly, I would like to be able to recruit and help more progressive people get elected so that we'll have a more diverse elected officials. In addition, I will represent the 11th LD well in the Washington State Democratic Central Committee and appraise our members on developments in those meetings. I'm therefore asking for your support and vote so that we can work together to accomplish this and may improve the 11th LD further. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much. Okay, so those are all the speeches for state committee. Drew, do you want to just remind folks of how this ballot's going to work?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Shasti. I think it might be easiest if I just do a quick screen share here for folks and walk people through what this looks like. So what you're going to see here is the same ballot you saw before with the intro area and the identity verification. On the first section, you're going to be asked to vote for position 1. You can vote for any of the 5 candidates here, Santiago, Ryan, Kate, Winter, or Rick. Any of those are a valid option. When you select those, they will jump to various sections depending on what you have selected. So if you vote for any of the male candidates, they will jump to the male section and will only present you with Kate or Winter as second choices. And if you select Kate first, you will jump to, oh, I am glad I'm showing this because I have a mistake here. My apologies. Winter should be in the middle here. One. So sorry about that, but thank you for bearing with me. So if you vote for Kate initially, then you can vote for either Santiago, Ryan, Rick, or Winter. They are your only options presented here. And if you vote for Winter first, then you can vote for Santiago, Ryan, Kate, or Rick here. So all of those options are valid, but it will jump you from each of those. So remember, you're voting first for one candidate, and then your second candidate will be displayed there, and it should prevent you from spoiling your ballot in any capacity. With that, the ballot is now live. So let me send the link in chat, and I will send the email out as well. And please let me know if you have any questions.
I'm going to give folks a minute to vote, and then I'll open it up if we have any city council members or mayors here tonight who'd like to say a few words.
Something doesn't look right here.
I have something weird too.
I got,
It's asking for a third vote.
yes.
Oh, interesting.
Very careful,
One
right? Okay.
I can also confirm I tried to vote for a male for the position 1 and then female for position 2, and it's asking me for another male vote.
In this case, it's asking me for a female vote in second.
No worries. Give me just 1 second to fix. So sorry, folks.
I know you're working on a remedy, but do we throw out what we've got or submit it? And
Yes,
then
we
wait for-
will. The cleanest way will be to reset the ballot and revote. Sincere apologies for that mistake.
So if it's already mostly filled out, do we back out of it?
Yeah, you can just exit the ballot entirely at this point.
Thank you.
What about
Sure.
we've already submitted it?
We're gonna.
You will be able to revote. As again, one of the advantages to doing things through Google Forms is we can simply accept the second ballot. So we won't need to reset the ballot entirely. Give me just 1 second to finish resolving this, and then we can reset the ballot and start over. Again, sincere apologies to everyone.
Thank you, Joe.
Just appreciate you doing this for the 11th.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm sorry to make the mistake. It's been a couple months since I've had to do more complicated ballots than one-offs.
If your ballot was submitted successfully, do you still have to revote?
Yes, you will need to revote. Well, there are asterisks to that. I think the safest option here to make sure that everyone's ballot is successfully counted and properly counted is to simply reset everything. So everything should be in good shape now. So at this point, the link hasn't changed. But if you go back to the ballot, you can now revote, and the ballot should correctly interpret the process here. So basically what the issue was here was if you voted for anyone that tripped into, if you voted for a male or a female first, then it would continue down the chain and bring you to additional sections to vote for additional folks. So that should be resolved now, and it should allow you to just vote for 2. So please feel free to go right ahead and try that again. And sincere apologies, and thank you for flagging that.
Worked fine there, Drew.
Yeah, it looks like the results are coming in properly. Again, so sorry about the inconvenience there, but thank you all for bearing with me.
Thanks for flagging it, folks. We appreciate it. Okay, while we're waiting, do we have any city council members who would like to speak? And Kate, I'm just going to ask you to hold since you're actively in an election. But if we have any other city council members or mayors who'd like to say anything?
Yeah, Cynthia is on in the meeting.
Who is, I'm sorry?
Cynthia de los Trinos.
Oh,
Hi.
there she is. Hello. Hi, Cynthia. Would you like to say a few words?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Cynthia Dalastrinos Johnson. I'm a council member in the city of Tukwila. This is my second year on council. Last year was my first year, and as you can imagine, it was the craziest year that I think anybody could have in their first year in office. But you know, right now we've just had one meeting in Tukwila so far. Last year we passed a budget for the city. I'm happy to report that the council members really prioritized human services, and you know, just making sure that those are most vulnerable in our community are protected. And you know, there's a lot of other things that we're looking at into this year, given budget cuts due to COVID and the closing of businesses in the South Center district. But I'm really confident that the council we have right now is going to continue to prioritize those most vulnerable within our communities, really looking at how we can all recover from this state that we're in together. This year, I am chair of the Public Services and Safety Committee, which is an area that I'm really interested in given my work as an attorney, and also working on issues related to race, gender equity, and language access in my daytime job. So if anybody has any questions or, wants to reach out to myself or the rest of the council members to find out more of what's going on in Tukwila, let me know. Thanks.
Thank you so much, council member. Anyone else? Do we have anyone else here?
Been a little over a minute, almost 2, since anyone submitted a ballot, but I'll say it just for clarity as a reminder. If you voted in the first 50 seconds that the ballot was open, you do need to resubmit your vote. If you are worried that your vote is improperly counted, please feel free to just vote again. You can vote as many times as you want. We can clean it up on the back end. I would much rather folks have their vote counted than not. So please feel free to submit as many times as you like to ensure. But give it, I think, a minute or 2 more is probably fine because we haven't gotten anything while I've been talking either, Shasti.
So this is Dawn Bennett. My code will not go through this time.
Give me just 1 second, Dawn.
Sure.
While we're waiting, David McDonald, would you be willing to give an update about the DNC? Oh, you're on mute, David.
Yep, I'm just taking myself off mute. Well, I don't know exactly how much to update. We're going to have an election tomorrow, but the president has nominated his preferred officers of the Democratic National Committee, at least the initial ones. And so far, I don't believe anybody has chosen to question the president's personnel decisions on his first day. And as a result, I suspect that there will not be any contested elections tomorrow, but we do have a meeting tomorrow. Once we have the new officers in place, I think there are going to be some interesting issues to deal with in the near term. As some of you may know, I serve on the Rules and Bylaws Committee of the DNC, which basically deals with all structural changes, delegate selection rules, and the like for the National Committee. And we have 2 tasks that have been delegated to us between now and the end of March. One of them is to deal with a relatively longstanding challenge in the West Virginia Democratic Party relating to whether they are properly exercising equal division in their state committee. And second has to do with reviewing all of the reforms that were made to the nominating process last year and see whether to keep them and I think potentially to whether or not to extend them. I should indicate in that regard that typically the Rules and Bylaws Committee will at the end of each cycle document for the next Rules Committee suggestions that it has to make. The committee is appointed every 4 years by the chair of the DNC. But what they've done this time, the convention in Philadelphia, in the virtual convention that would have been in Milwaukee, passed a resolution and sent reform review directly to the Rules Committee rather than to set up a commission as they have in the past. So we're waiting to see exactly how that works. We had at the time thought we would be meeting in person. It will be interesting to see how you do an 8 or 9 hour virtual committee meeting of the kind that the legislatures have to do with the 30 people. But other than that, I don't have too much to report. Typically, the winter meeting right after we've elected a president is a meeting with a lot of speeches and commemorative resolutions, but not a lot of controversy. And I expect that this one will be the same. And we're all missing very much the opportunity to make an expressive gesture to Marine One as it carts the former president off. On the other hand, since he's chosen to leave in secret and nobody will be there, I suppose we can rapidly forget him. So.
Thanks, David. You have a question about, could you name the nominated officers?
I can if you give me just a minute to pull it up.
Okay, we can come back.
Yeah, I will post it into the chat, which
Okay.
may be easier as a list. Jamie Harrison is the chair. Gretchen Wilmer, Tammy, the Illinois senator. Tammy Duckworth. Let me put it in though, so I don't butcher people's names.
Thank you, David. Drew, do we have a result?
We sure do. I'm ready to share. If you're good to go, I can shut down the ballot.
Yep,
Whenever
we'll
you're
close
ready.
voting.
Yep, great. Let me make sure. Great. Cool, sorry about that. Just wanted to double check. All right, so we are in good shape here. I will screen share and walk folks through what we're looking at here. On the screen share here, you can see we have the 4 different possible positions. So these folks are scattered, but each of the total ballots are the total cast in this column G divided by 2, indicating how many votes. So a majority will be half of this, meaning that a candidate should need, oh, that's interesting. That may be a problem. Give me 2 seconds, sorry. Sorry, 2 seconds.
There's not always intrigue in these meetings, so you know we'll just we'll hold for dramatic pause.
It's all right. It's not, we don't have the Georgia craziness, so that's okay.
Right, right. David was reminding me of the 2009 inauguration when Bush was leaving and Obama was coming in. And I'm sure I was there. I'm sure some of you were there. I went just as like a kid who was excited and wanted to be a part of it. And it was, first of all, it was so cold. It was 18 degrees. And I, as a Pacific Northwesterner, was so ill prepared. I had no idea what that cold was like. But I remember when we saw Bush taking off in the helicopter, the entire crowds, like the full, full mall, started singing "Hey Hey Goodbye," and it was quite joyful as we all waved, and some of us gave one finger salutes to that helicopter as it took off. Yeah, what a wild. We thought that time was bad. We thought and Trump just pushed it all the way further. But wow, I've been thinking a lot about my inauguration memories. I'm sure some of you have them as well. And how special that Obama inauguration was, the first one. And then the second one, I was on actually Vice President, now President Biden's team, and had the opportunity to be able to help. I met the entire state of Delaware. I like to joke because it was like all of Joe's best friends from Delaware, and my job was to coordinate their tickets and getting them seated for it and everything. And there'd been all this sort of drama and pressure to get all of the guests off of the inauguration into these buses for the parade route to be able to get in the front of the parade so that they would be able to greet as the vice president and President Obama would get out for that last stretch in front of the viewing stand. And so I had gotten everybody on the buses, and I was just like, oh God, they're about to take off. I just have to get on a bus. And I got on a bus and nobody else was on it. So I, alone on a big bus, a part of the parade, went down Pennsylvania Avenue, and everyone thought that I was somebody important. So I'm waving to the crowds and having the time of my life, me and the bus driver by ourselves. Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about those memories as we get ready for tomorrow, and thinking about my counterparts this year who should be able to have those types of fun memories, and instead are having to focus so much on security and COVID safety, and it was a lot of stress and pressure to try to get the right color coded tickets, and this year the stakes are so much higher. So
Can I ask David a question? Can I ask David McDonald a question?
Yes.
Hey, David, can you explain why the president chooses the DNC chair versus an election, so the new folks understand the process?
Oh, you know what? He and Drew may be talking through something.
Are you able to answer
so-
that question, or?
you know what? I don't know the specifics. I do know that we did do an election last time. I think that in some ways the Democratic National Committee is sort of, it serves at the pleasure of the Democratic president. And so I do know that Obama chose the DNC chair, which, gosh, now I can't remember who it was back in 2009.
Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Was it?
Because, yeah, I think so. I think
Okay.
she was a two-term. I think it's because of the president is the head of the party, so they basically
Right.
see her being the chair.
Yep.
When we don't have an incumbent president, then we have the head of the party, which is the chair, and then that's why the DNC members get to choose. That's my
Yes.
understanding. So.
Yep. We'll let David confirm when yeah, I think it looks like he and Drew are conferring. So okay, yeah, and then I see Emily's question in the chat. So Emily must have heard from probably David Fleetwood or Chris Franco. On the last cycle, I was working on the Bernie Sanders campaign, and I was managing all the surrogates. And one of my favorite events that I did was one of the wildest events. It was the last big in-person event that we did, which was in LA. It was a rally in LA, and it was with Chuck D from Public Enemy, which is the song Fight the Power, where the musical act, Dick Van Dyke was one of the speakers, Sarah Silverman, who's a comedian, and it was a really wild experience. Dick lost his tooth on stage, and we had to go and try to find it. Dick is, I think he's 94 now. And so, I mean, it was just incredible. I mean, such a legend to get to see him in person, and he was still so full of life and energy, and it just, you know, just a pro, and made a joke about tripping on stage, you know, like he did on Mary Tyler Moore and those shows back in the day. And so yeah, another one of those fun memories.
Shasti, do you have any desire to go back and be part of this administration?
You know, I mean, I feel like my duties and my responsibilities and my best impact is back here locally. I love getting to be chair of King County, and I love the work we're doing back here. But yeah, there's parts of me I want to go back for the fun stuff. The folks who have to go now, this first year is going to be a lot of work, and I think like they need to disinfect that place, and they need to get it set up, and before I will want to go back. But those were good
more
memories.
than this first year.
Yeah, exactly. I was just telling a friend, I'm like, second term is so much more fun. You know, it's like the first term you are cleaning up messes that, you know, Republicans have often left. And yeah, I mean, in the first term in the Obama administration, by the way, Drew, I'm just stretching. So if you have a result, just let me know. But in the first term, one of the sort of tricks that the Bush of many, but one of the things that the Bush administration did to the Obama team coming in was they hid all of the phones. So they had all of the phones and all of the like fax machines and everything taken to storage and moved out so that it would delay the start of the new folks coming in to get set up. And so it took an extra like week or two for them to just like get the phones to start working. Like they replug everything back in. So that's why I'm always like, yeah, let the first team, like let them go and do all the hard stuff, and then, you know, we'll see what happens.
I suspect missing phones would be a really easy thing for this administration to face coming in.
Yes,
with all the shit that they're gonna have to face.
So sorry to interrupt. Shasti, can I sidebar with you for 2 seconds? I just want to run by what's happened.
Yes.
I'll give you a call.
Yes. All right. If anyone else has any updates, please feel free. If we like good of the order, if folks want to start that. Otherwise, we'll just have a few moments of silence. All right. I'll be
so we can all celebrate the fact that tomorrow is going to be a win for our country in so many ways. If
Oh my God.
if no one has a good of the order, we can just celebrate that.
Imagine waking up and like all the executive orders will be good.
Well, what's gonna
I'm going to be able to comprehend it.
the big question is where's everybody is there going to be Zoom hangouts, or where's everybody going to go? I know everyone's going to be drinking really
9 in
early.
the morning. Yeah. Get some champagne out.
Yeah, there's a lot. I think in the Northwest there'll be a lot of mimosas at 9 a.m. So
I have a quick little thing I want to add. This is Karen Gallant. And remember on the campaign trail, Pete Buttigieg always said, imagine what it'll be like the morning after Trump is no longer president. And he's going through his confirmation hearing the morning after Trump is no longer president. So that's kind of ironic that Pete Buttigieg, first Secretary of Department of Transportation. So he always talked about the sun coming up the morning after Trump is no longer president, and that's the day that he'll be confirmed for Secretary of Transportation.
So how's that gonna work? So the president's group is gonna party, and what's the Senate doing? Usually they have a lunch and they hang out. Are they jumping right into business right away?
I think they are.
Well,
I think they plan like 10 executive orders
yeah.
tomorrow.
Wow, they're gonna see Trump.
Yeah, at noon East time, the power transfers, and we are in such an unstable state. You know, hiding phones and fax machines is just the beginning, and
That would be
I think
quaint.
that there's going to be, they're just going to jump straight in. I think.
Well, all I know, and Chris can confirm this with me, that I mean, there's 2 footballs in 2 places. One's heading to Florida, and at 11:59 and 59 seconds, that officer is going to salute and walk out the door as fast as he can.
Well, they turn it off. Yeah, they turn it off, and Biden's gets turned on.
Well, the thing is, whoever that officer is, God bless them. I know the first thing they're going to want to do is take a shower.
No kidding.
Oh, I mean,
or a COVID test.
Oh yeah,
get a COVID test.
I hope they were the first to get an inoculation. Sorry, I'm bugging with Chris because we know how to salute together, but it's always fun getting your shots, right, Chris?
I was a guinea pig for sure. It's anybody in the service like Lynn as well.
Lynn too. I forgot. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah. I got the experimental swine flu virus while I was deployed in Afghanistan, and in conjunction with the standard flu shot.
What swine? They were messing with swine flu back then. What?
Oh yeah.
Marvin, we were taking all kinds of shots, regardless of whether we're sick or not, or whatever the stuff is there or not. Man,
Hey.
It's like it's lined up.
My job my job was to sit in a hole and turn a key. That was gonna be my job.
So what happened, Marvin, is with the 2 footballs is that it's not like a turn off button or anything at the 1 second at the switch off. The switch off is not like you turn a button off. You don't have to open it out and turn it off or anything. It's just that the authentication process changed.
Right.
So every time there's a timer, so that even if you carry the football around with a president when it's still active, there's always whatever the cadence is, every 15 minutes, every 20 minutes, the officer will carry it, will receive a new authentication, and he or she would have to authenticate back right away what that authentication is. Otherwise, it'll deactivate by default.
Wow.
So this is something that, so this is something that it'll be a smooth transition. Yeah.
Well, I just got this notice over my cell phone that President Trump is telling people he's decided to pardon Steve Bannon as one of his final acts in office.
What did he do again other than lie?
I think he
steal a lot of money.
Out of money.
Yeah, they announced that on the news earlier.
Yeah.
Or
some sort of fraud.
First of all, I have to apologize to everyone. I have been so out of it. If you look at my Facebook page, I've been buried in books. I mean, I've been doing this. I'm writing a book right now.
What are you writing a book about?
No, I'm finishing my dissertation right now, and so we are on chapter 3 of 5, and so actually
What's it
4.
about?
Huh? Oh, it's about, hold on, really long sentence. So it's about ensuring how small political organizations can stay compliant with local public development authorities, or with local public disclosure authorities.
Sounds like relevant to us or something.
Oh yeah. Let's just say if there's a few articles that are there. So actually I know Shasti and David would like this one if he's paying attention. I got to go to the state committee, and then I'll be making a presentation because I need all of the statewide officers around the legislative districts to be part of my study. So that way the dissertation can be complete. So it's going to be quite fun, and the results will be wonderfully humorous. So I think I'm one of 3 people in the country that will be doing this kind of research. So it's I met one of the authors, a pretty well-known author for this particular part of the field. So it was it'll be fun to watch. You can watch it, you can see it published live at the USC libraries at usc.edu.
Hey, so I want to ask, so Chuck Parrish, you're getting your vaccine. Who is anybody else getting their vaccine pretty soon?
Don't qualify.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, Sandy. Oh my goodness, where are you getting it at, Valley?
I'm getting it, God willing, and the creek don't rise.
At Valley Medical?
No, Valley is not giving injections yet, at least as of a couple days ago. It's through CHI Franciscan. I'm not a member, but I did a lot of searching for locations, and they had some openings.
Okay,
So I'm
folks.
going over to
We had like a statistical anomaly, I guess. Drew is going to explain what happened and announce our results.
Yeah, so I want to preface this by saying this was something that we spent quite a bit of time debating whether it was mathematically possible during the delegate selection process, and wrote rules specifically assigning towards this because we could not mathematically prove it was impossible. I was personally of the opinion that it was impossible, and man, do I get to eat some crow today. But so I'm going to share my screen again here and explain what happened. So basically when you have a situation, we are essentially voting for 2 positions split between 3 gender categories, which allows certain anomalies to occur, especially in situations where there are very tight races at the top of the majority run here. So what you can see here are the split ballots for everyone's votes throughout the process. You can see each individual only cast 2 votes, and we've gone through and hand checked each of these to make sure that there is no gender distribution problem within them. So everyone voted for either a male and a non-binary individual, or a female and a non-binary individual. And so as a result, all of these ballots are valid, and we've double checked these count functions. They are fairly simple, but what has happened here for those of you who are looking closely and have already figured out is Kate and Winter have both received 27 votes. Rick received 24 votes. There were 46 individual voters who cast ballots in this. For those of you quick at math, realize that Kate, Winter, and Rick all achieved a simple majority on the first round, as opposed to 1 or less candidates receiving a simple majority, which is quite statistically hard to accomplish. So well done to all of you on managing to prove me mathematically wrong in the real world here. But that is what has occurred here. I'm obviously going to be digging fairly deeply into the results here to make sure that there wasn't anything I missed in this 20 minutes of auditing these ballots to make sure that there weren't any problems after the fact. But as of now, that is what the results stand as. And that is sort of the extent of what I'm able to report as tally. And I'll pass it back to Shasti for sort of what that means on the electoral component.
Yes, so we have winners. Those 2 winners are Kate Kruller and Winter Cashman. So congratulations to Kate and Winter. And great job to all of you who ran. It was very close, and you proved Drew wrong, so great job. Kate and Winter, would you like to say a few words?
I'll let Winter go first.
Oh, I insist you go.
Well, between us, we wrote each other that we might have broke the ballot, so it sounds like it came close. I want to congratulate everybody who stepped up and ran for this position. It's pretty exciting that people want to step up and represent the state level. And I think Shasti said it earlier. We're really lifting beyond our swing, or hitting beyond our weight. The 11th is significant, and I didn't mention in my speech, but if reelected and should the chair of the state be reelected, she plans to put me back on rules. So I hope to represent you well. I really, really mean it when I care about what you think, and I vote that way. So if you ever have a strong opinion about anything, and I'm not asking you, feel free to pick up the phone or reply to those emails I sent you today. And tell me what you think, because I do vote the way the 11 people tell me to. Thank you.
I just want to echo all of that. Thank you, everyone, for participating today. Thank you, everyone who's been running today. I think that's so great. Seeing our party be so involved and seeing us go through this process, this is the culture that we need to continue cultivating, and the process we need to continue going through to really grow and nurture our democracy. And so I appreciate everyone who supported me. Thank you so much. And I look forward to having a first term as a state committee member.
Yay, thank you. Thanks so much. Okay, wow. Got some excitement in the 11th. Okay, I will take us to our last election of the night, which is for King County representative, King County Democrat Central Committee representative. We have two people who have self-nominated, and that is Sabrina, and I apologize, I'm gonna mess this up, Siaham and Tyrone Grandison. Are there any other nominations?
Should she accept, I would like to nominate Carmen Rivera.
Carmen still on?
I accept the nomination. Thank you, Winter.
Great, thank you, Carmen. Do we have any other nominations?
Sorry, before we move on, Chesty, Carmen, can you please confirm your gender identity for the purposes of balloting, since this is a gender divided ballot?
I can, Drew. Thank you. My gender pronouns are she, her, hers.
Thank you.
Okay, any other nominations? Seeing none, nominations are closed. So we will take them in the order with which they were nominated. And the first person I have up is Sabrina.
Hi guys, my name is Sabrina Sahayam, born and raised in Fiji Islands. I migrated to the US with my parents as a teenager, completed my BA from University of Washington, MBA from City University. While working in the corporate world, I have gained experience, whether it be in education, retail, beverage, insurance, travel, and banking world. But on the other hand, I have a passion for politics and the desire to do what is right for people while being transparent and being accountable. So currently I'm a PCO, member of the LD11 and an elected Biden delegate. I'm humbly asking for your vote because we need to grow our LD engagement and community partnership with bold ideas, swift leadership, and to coalesce together as a team and adopt progressive policies and make sure we are reaching our full potential. Of course, there are issues I care about. I care about healthcare, economic, education, racial disparities. For instance, COVID-19 has exposed disparities by race in the African American and Latino community. Lack of food, we have seen long lines at the food bank. We cannot let working people struggle. Criminal justice, that's very dear to my heart. Historically, and recent vigilante acts, violence against LGBT community, and unfair policing has increased. And with the insurrection on the 16th, it is imperative we make systematic changes. However, I've also listened to our PCOs and our community members, and there's some things that they care about. For instance, more time for discussions during voting for ballots, flex meeting schedule post-COVID-19, union issues, holding Trump accountable after what happened on the 6th, increased engagement, cab homelessness, affordable housing, racial and gender equity, veterans issues, senior care, child's issue, and domestic violence. Together, we can all contribute in a positive way by being innovative and transformative. Therefore, I'm asking for your vote to bring positive change as a team for our 11th LD at the King County level.
Thank you very much. Okay, Tyrone, you're up.
Thank you, Shasti. Good evening, everybody. I am running for KCDCC rep, and I believe that my experience as an ambassador, bridging different communities, as an executive coach, helping teams be stronger and more coordinated, as a facilitator for both events and groups, and as a commissioner advocating for the underserved, that does make me a solid candidate for this particular role. So I'm running because I want to ensure that the district and the county teams are always in sync and aligned. I'm running because I want to be an advocate for the thoughts and the ideas from this team to the county level. I'm running because I want to be a conduit and a megaphone for the initiatives and the issues that you're facing and vice versa from the county level. I'm running because I want to connect and facilitate partnerships in communities across the entire Democratic community. I am so excited to actually work with you and for you, alongside with everyone else on the 11th LD Dems United slate. And I hope you cast your vote for me. Thank you so much.
Carmen.
Hi, everyone. I will expand a little bit on what I spoke to when I gave you my statement for chair. And so I was born and raised in the LD, and so I understand how important this organization is. It had a huge impact on me when I moved out and established my career and worked for the state and the county. I do understand how intricate these things are and the organizational errors that I've witnessed working in the systems, which is why I now work as a professor, educating others on how to better the systems from the inside. I have spoken to a lot of you on the phone and made the effort to connect with you and formulate relationships that I want to continue past this election and carry into whatever holds for me after we figure out who wins this position. I am a strong communicator. I am someone who's going to go the extra mile to make sure that everything is clear and that we understand what's going on to be a strong representative for you. I'm going to connect with each and every one of you and be a consistent member within this organization and a consistent leader as I have been. I also sit on the board for Seattle Pride. And so I do understand the need to cross-collaborate, the levels of not only the King County Democrats and what they have to deal with, but also what we deal with here at the local level at the 11th LD, and also on the more local level of a city of Renton resident. I am a very open book and just here to serve you and provide my skills for the betterment of the 11th LD. And I would very much appreciate your support. I would like to apply my skill set to the 11th LD to represent you to do the best I can for all of you. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Carmen. Okay, so for this ballot, since we have Carmen and Sabrina are both female identifying, Tyrone is male identifying. Tyrone basically defaults to our winner, but we're going to keep him on the ballot. Drew is going to put the link in, and then you will be mostly making a choice between Carmen and Sabrina. And just as a note, there will be the next meeting for the 11th. There will be some other of the officers elected that I believe those seats are available for members to be able to vote on. And there will be 2 alternate seats for King County that will be available for folks to run in at that point. Julie, I see your hand up.
Yeah, so I'm not being able to open the form. It says it will open at the chair's discretion. I don't know if anyone else is getting that, but I tried refreshing and it still wouldn't open.
I'm having the same problem.
Me as well.
My mistake. I sent you the third ballot link.
Okay.
The new link should be correct in the chat now.
It's working.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry about that.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, great. give folks a few minutes to vote. Thanks for your patience, everybody.
Hi, Drew. Just to let you know that there was a glitch where I voted for the last person standing and they were the wrong gender. So just wanted to, I think it's a thing of the Google Forms, out of your control.
Sorry, what did you have happen, Marvin?
Yeah, so I voted for one of the candidates and they were different gender. I think it's because it defaulted to the most available position. It was labeled a different gender than the person who was there. So, but I think your results will still be the same.
Okay.
While we're waiting, this is Chuck Parrish. Someone said that they weren't taking reservations for vaccines at Valley Medical Center. That's not right, actually. It was the governor that made a change in policy as of yesterday, and I didn't hear it. My wife did, and she got right on there, and there were the appointments. Now, we're classified as 1B, but there was some tweak in it, I guess, that allowed us to go ahead and apply. And so we called other friends, and as of just late yesterday, they were booked through Saturday, and I don't know how much further, but you can, if you're, especially if you're 65 and over, which I'm well over, you should be able to get an appointment.
So that's at Valley General?
Oh, Chuck, you're on mute.
Called Valley Medical Center in Renton.
Yeah.
Well, this whole thing is what's true 1 minute is not true the next. It keeps changing back and forth, doesn't it?
I think there are some places that have vaccines that they have to use up before they have to throw them away.
Mm-hmm.
And that may be why they're accepting, you know.
The governor announced yesterday that Washington State is changing the standards so that everyone who's 65 or older can be vaccinated. That's new, and they decided to go with the US CDC recommendations. I'm guessing because they were having a hard time filling the appointments with just the 1A group.
Well, my husband and I are both eligible, but we can't, the place where we would normally go doesn't know what the heck they're doing. So we're a little bit flummoxed.
Well, there's also the last ditch effort one where if you miss your appointment, there's like it's seldom known, little said thing that if someone missed their appointment and you're just hanging around, they'll
give out all of the inoculations that day,
regardless of age.
Right.
At the end of the day. Yeah, I know someone who did that. They went at the end of the day and there were extra doses.
Yeah, so you got to be there, right place, right time, right Walgreens. So
I know someone who got an appointment at CMAR in Kent, and they were doing that at the end of the day. starting
we're
at
just
4:30.
we're just trying to connect and get an appointment through the place that we're supposed to get our appointment, and they don't know what they're doing yet. So poop.
Which begs the questions. I mean, come on. I mean, it's like we've sent people all over the world, for vaccination and against polio and all that stuff. I mean, it's a strange thing where, as a first world country, we can't vaccinate people and we can eradicate polio elsewhere, which is hilarious.
I had a presentation at a meeting earlier this morning from the state health nurse something or other. And she had a graphic and it showed how many immunizations had been given, and it is off to a slow start. But then she had a section where more vaccines become available. And I think when AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson vaccines become available, there's millions of doses of those just waiting to be sent as soon as the approval gets through. So at that point, it's going to be 5 times as many vaccines as are giving out now, I think.
And Johnson & Johnson is supposed to be 1 dose.
While we are waiting, does anyone have any other goods of the order that they'd like to share?
Took tomorrow off for a holiday. I want to be able to be engaged and involved in the process tomorrow, celebrating our new president. Trump's be long gone by 8 a.m., 5 o'clock our time. So good riddance.
Yeah.
Going to be watching the news just for that.
Yep.
He'll be gone, but he won't be out of office yet.
Yeah, 11:59 and 59 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll take tuned out. I mean, I could have survived a acting President Pence actually for a few days, but I didn't know if you all looked at the news and just looked at the look on Pence's face. If he ever had a poker face, that was it. But you could tell he was pretty hacked.
He's not going to the send off.
Oh yeah, he's not going to send off, but he'll be in the ceremony. He gets a front row seat. Biden said, "Hey, have a seat. We'd love to have you."
Jessica, I see you've got something, but I can't read it.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, this is going to be a great seminar on February 2nd at 5 p.m. on Medicare Advantage. And I don't know how familiar people are with Medicare, but a lot of people are going on private Medicare. And there's some real concerns with that. And particularly for those of us who are really pushing for Medicare for all. I don't know if people are aware, but Biden did run on just adding a public option to the ACA. But there are concerns that the progressive wing who wants Medicare for all are going to be pushing back because there's real problems with that. So it's a very important issue right now. And if you're available on February 2nd, this is going to be an awesome talk. These are national leaders on the subject. And it's going to be live. You'll be able to submit questions for them. And you can get more information at our website. It's the organization is Puget Sound Advocates for Retirement Action, and our abbreviation is PSARA. You can see it next to my name actually in the Zoom window. And you just go to psara.org and read about the event. It says on the website to email organizer@psara.org for the link. And yeah, it's going to be an awesome talk, and these people really know what they're talking about. It's a very interesting subject, and there's a lot of concerns. Some of the Republicans were saying, yeah, we're fine with Medicare for all as long as you make it Medicare Advantage for all. And
Okay, sorry, Jessica, I'm gonna break in really quickly. If there are any people who still haven't voted, I'm gonna do a last call for votes, and then we're gonna close this. So I'm gonna give it literally 1 minute. Sorry, Jessica, go ahead.
nope, that's it. Thanks. Hope people can tune in. I'll hold it up a little bit longer just in case it helps anybody.
Thanks, Jessica. I made a point of the website. I'll
Oh,
take a-
great.
Yeah, maybe Jessica, if you could put the website into the chat.
Oh, good. Good idea.
That'd be
Thank
great.
you.
Okay, I'm gonna close voting. And I hear we have a very close result. Drew, would you like to share our results?
Y'all want to give me a heart attack, gee willikers. All right, so I want to flag for folks. Oh, whoops, I didn't share the proper window. There we go. I want to flag for folks the bug that Marvin Rossetti brought up a little bit earlier was one where we were seeing a vote be cast for the female candidate, but then it did not register for the male candidate. It just skipped straight to submission with only one option forward. I went and checked each of this looks like a bug in Google Forms, but to call out each of those individually, I just want to point them out specifically where they happened. All of them were for female candidates cast first, so they do not affect the result in any way. Tyrone, congratulations. You received all of the votes cast for a male candidate. On the female side, Sabrina received 22 votes and Carmen received 23 votes with 45 votes cast. So Carmen has a majority on the first ballot.
Okay, thanks, Drew. Okay, thanks everyone for running. Congratulations. Tyrone, do you want to say a few words?
Quickly, thank you for your trust and your faith. I will not let you down. Good night.
Thank you. And Carmen, would you like to say a few words?
I'm just very, very, very grateful. I'm so grateful for the connections I've made and the people I've met, and I am happy to be able to serve all of you. I'm happy to share my phone number, email, anything you want. I'm an open book. And Biden Parish 2020, I hope everyone has a really good time tomorrow, because I know I'm going to be waking up early and celebrating all day with the rest of you. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Carmen. Okay, with that, we are done for elections tonight. I was asking for goods of order. I will do a last call. Are there any last announcements that folks would like to make?
I have a good of the order.
Okay, go ahead, Karen.
Karen Gallant, yeah. Is it possible that we could go ahead and vote on the King County alternate tonight rather than wait a month since that last was so close? Or
Unfortunately, we weren't able, because when we adopted the agenda, we weren't able, we didn't make that change. So
Be out of
no, it would be out of order. And then I believe I'm gonna look to David McDonald or to Fleetwood to say whether members are able to vote on alternates.
Per David McDonald, as it turns out, members are not only elected PCOs. We did not know that going in, but it has to do with the state party charter requiring that, not with our CW, which is why we didn't notice that. And I believe we also would have had to give notice at the call to meeting for those positions to be available to vote on this time as well.
Yes, so we'll have to wait. We'll have to wait till the next one.
Understood.
Thank you. Yep, thanks for asking. And Benton, do you want to announce when the next meeting will be?
Yep. So we'll have our next meeting on the third Tuesday of February at 7 p.m. It'll obviously be Zoom again. So make sure you're signed up for the newsletter so that you get the Zoom link. And that's February the 16th. So that's when we'll have our elections for KCDCC alternates as well as for secretary. So definitely stay tuned and look forward to seeing you in February. And thank you again, Shasti, David McDonald, Drew Estep, David Fleetwood, Chris Franco. This is an all-star team that helped us tonight with our reorg meeting. We could not have asked for better. And so very much looking forward to continuing to work with you. And thank you for what you've done tonight.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Fleetwood, did you want to say?
Yeah, I just I feel a little bit nostalgic. This is the last meeting at which I had any official role in the party, and I first joined in 2006, angry about Bush, as a recovering Republican. When I came in, this organization was run by Ed Prince, who was here earlier voting. And, I was here through multiple chairs after that, including in this room, Kate, Rick, who else am I missing? Holly's not
Azim.
here. Azim, he was chair for a bit, and some other people were districted out. And I became PCO about 2 years after I joined, taking over for Lloyd Hoshide, who was a Japanese American World War II veteran who fought for the US and Europe. And, he had a lot of stories about his family being interned and how going through Italy and so on. He died a few years back. He was literally my neighbor, like 2 houses across the street. I did not serve I was involved with the board, but I did not serve as an officer until 2014 when Rick asked me to step up as a KCDCC rep. That was an interesting time. And from there, I was asked by many people to run for chair in 2016 when Rick was trying to step back. I did that for 2 years through, as we all know, many of us know, the Glenn Morgan mess, the Bailey Stober mess with KCDCC, and that was a very hard and challenging term. I attempted to step back after that. Shasti and her team, who I'd worked with on Bailey Stober situation, recruited me to be her vice chair at KCDCC or KCD. And that was honestly one of the best experiences I've had in the political party in my life. I have, we assembled a rock star team and rebuilt that organization from the ashes. And at the same time, I was working with Rick, who had kindly chosen to step up here so I could be free to go to KCD to keep the momentum going and do the recovery from what had happened due to Glenn Morgan. And I mentioned in a Facebook post, our membership went from 106 I think 108 at the start of 2020 to 230 some odd at the end of 2020 during a pandemic, both due to our efforts, but also due to David Hackney and his recruiting efforts for his campaign. We have done very well. I want to see that momentum continue. I don't need to be an officer anymore. I've really been trying to check out for years, but I will be around. My focus going forward is on Renton and the homeless issues, as well as affordable housing. Some of you know I'm a planning commissioner. I've been heavily involved in that issue on both counts. There is going to be legislation coming before the Planning Commission this year. I will need people from this district to help and actually show up at those meetings, give community voice. If we don't, they're trying to literally zone homelessness out of the city. As a planning commissioner who happens to be an active Democrat, I'm going to need this group. It's very serious. So,
can you add that to the newsletter? Sorry.
Yes, and I have to be very careful. In our official communications, my role within the organization is separate from my role as a planning commissioner.
Mm-hmm.
But I bring our values into every space I'm in. So I'm looking forward to seeing where the new leadership goes. And I just want to thank everybody for the years of support and encouragement and backing me when I really needed it, especially through the lean years. Glenn Morgan was an utter nightmare. Anyway, thank you. It's kind of strange. I have no positions now.
Thank you, David.
Yep.
Thanks, David.
Thanks very much, David. Okay, anything else?
Madam Chair, motion to adjourn.
Yes, thank you. Without objection.
Good night.
Good night.
night,
This meeting is adjourned.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, 11.
Appreciate everybody.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, everyone.
Good night.
Way to go,
Good
Carmen.
night.
Good night, everybody.
Congrats all.